ਇੱਕ ਓਂਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ। ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ, ਧੰਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ, ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Today we venture on a discussion, on a discourse about human sexuality and human spirituality. What is their individual relationship with me? And what is the connection, if there is any, between sexuality and spirituality? I'll start by narrating a small story. A family which has 2 children goes to a friend's house, and one girl, one boy. That house has a lot of toys in it. Let me assume 100 toys, and there are no children in the house. So the parents assume that their children will be very happy with the toys. They leave them with the toys and tell them to enjoy themselves. Here are all the toys and feel free, enjoy yourself. They come back after a period of a few hours and they find that both the children are crying. They were very surprised because there are so many toys to play and enjoy with. What was the reason for them to cry? So they asked one child, and he said, I saw my neighbor have another toy which I liked more than all these toys. Why can't I get that toy? So I'm very upset. That was very shocking for the parents. Then they asked the girl, what is the reason for her to cry? And the girl said, these are 100 toys. Even if I play with one toy every day, I will enjoy myself only for 100 days. What about the day after that? This story, in short, expresses my relationship with my sexuality, with how I deal with it, and how I end up in a conflict with my relationship with my sexuality. So this relationship is not only immensely complicated, it is immensely powerful. And the human mind with the human sexual force together is a very deadly concoction. So you see that our entire society, our entire minds, our subconscious thought process, our lifestyles, the creation of society on a whole, everything is dictated by this drive of sexuality. A society has 2 primal forces it will depend on for its motivation, for its inspiration. One is the sexuality, and the other is death. The society which turns towards death as an inspiration will turn internally spiritual. And that which is seeking sexuality as its inspiration will be conflicted for many other reasons. We will explore those. So, we are all born out of sex. It is very, very natural to say that we are all a part of the sexual drive of life itself. When Khalil Gibran was asked about children, he said that these are not your children. They come from you, but they are not yours. They are the drive of life itself seeking its expansion. I don't know the exact words, but this is what it means. So sexuality is a very strong force, because if it is not a strong force, expansion of the human being will cease. Similarly, animals, plants, flowers, insects, all of creation is driven by the sex drive. It is a way how life explores itself and proceeds into time, how it evolves. So, if there is a weak sexual drive in society, that society will become less prone to grow. Populations will drop and human society will collapse. Humans have now found a way of exploring their sexuality and not growing. That is another aspect. But what is it about the sexual drive which I need to understand, and what is the reason I am complicating this for myself and for everyone around me? Society has complicated itself. It has a lot to do with the mind. It has a lot to do with how I approach life. It has a lot to do with how much I've understood life. So it is assumed in some circles that sex is a sin. It is also assumed in some religions that sex is a sin. And it is assumed in Christianity, so that comes into our society that sex becomes a sin, because we are dominated by Western thought today. But is sex a sin? So if sex is a sin, then we are all born out of sin. This is not what Guru says. So how am I to approach sexuality is also a way how I approach life. It's a powerful force by itself, my sexual drive. But it's a way of understanding life. It's a way of transcending it. How much I've understood of the world, how much I've understood of my inner creation, is how I will understand sexuality. We had a question asked in the last session, which prompted me to indulge in this talk today. And that has a lot to do with guilt. So a lot of our energy, guilt being a very negative energy, if we carry guilt, half our mind force gets wasted in this guilt. And sex is very related to guilt. Our sexual drive is what makes us feel guilty. And this has a lot to do with acceptance. What am I? I am a sexual being physically. But there are other dimensions to me. So I need to accept this and not fight it. We will discuss this soon. The aspect of life which is around me today and the way society deals with sexuality is a very big reason of how all of us are trapped in this drive. It is not open, it's not discussed, it is suppressed, it is considered evil, it is very judgmental. People are sexually frustrated. People are craving for sex and living it in their head rather than indulging in the sexual act. So these are complications of the sexual drive. This is how life gets complicated. And this has more to do with my mind than with the sexual ability of a person. Sexuality will vary from person to person. It will vary with my age. It will vary with how I've understood life. It will vary depending on my mood. So there is no constant here. It's a varying parameter. And it is also a coping mechanism today. If I take sex out of social society today, there will be so much more so many more suicides, depressions. There will be so much more conflicts. So this is how the structure of society and the structure of me in the physical sense is working. It's a working model. Like fear, like anger, like love, like hatred, all these other emotions, which also are a way of how I'm structured. And the way I cope with all these is how I live my life. So is society a part of me. Sex is a part of me. And if I conflict it, if I suppress it, if I avoid it, if I want to get rid of it, then I have trapped myself in a conflict which I can't win. This is a battle I can't win. So I don't per se disagree with those sections of society who believe in celibacy. I would assume that a lot of energy goes there. And now we have seen that those structures, those forms who are promoting celibacy are failing in themselves. The reason is very apparent. That is fighting our own nature. Our nature is sexual physically. That's how we procreate. That's how society grows. That's how I grow. But somehow I get it into my head that this is a sin. So how do we deal with sexuality? And what is the relationship between spirituality and sexuality? I mentioned in the last talk about perfumes and tar being the products of oil, of carbon fuels. Perfume being the higher end of the carbon fuel, the more expensive, the more sought after, the more worked on, and more refined. And tar being the most basic, most gross form. Let me, just to cut the story short, explain it in reference to this. Sexuality is a form of my inner energy, and so is spirituality. The higher echelons of this energy is entirely spiritual, and it is full of love, unconditional, happiness, unconditional, and it is eternal. That which can never be taken away from me. These are the higher echelons of my spirit. Guru calls this Atam Ras. My Atma, my spirit, the Ras, the joy which exists in it, is the higher echelon of my spirit. If I am focused on that, then I have used my energy to the perfume of life. And if I have spent my entire energy in the sexual plane, then I have used my energy for the tar, for the more basic of energies. Very difficult to understand, I assume. Very difficult to fathom. What would these experience of the spiritual being be? And how is it related to my sexual experience? Sexual experience is a transient experience where the energy gets used and dispersed. No doubt it's a winning experience if I am in a sexual act with someone willing and where there is no other conflict. Let me also bring in one very nice line of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib. When he tells Bhai Nandlal, खलक खालक की जान के खलक दुखाए नाही, खलक दुखे नंदलाल खालक को पेताए. Where he says, know that the creator creates life and this is his life. If you cause pain to another, then you will be cursed by the creator. So here is also one aspect of my sexuality. I am like that child who has abundant toys. abundant opportunity of sexuality, but also is driven by the neighbor's toy. I'm distracted by that because I'm feeling cheated in life. Why am I feeling cheated in life? We are all looking for something in life. We're all looking for happiness. And if happiness comes with a condition, then it is not happiness. It is assumed happiness. There is a Sufi saint by the name of Rabia al-Basra. In the region of Iraq she lived. A very nice story goes that she has lost her needle and she tells her friends, I have lost my needle, help me find it. They spend the whole day trying to find the needle. It's time to get dark, and the friends ask her, where exactly have you thrown the needle? Rabia says, I have thrown it inside the house. They all laugh at her. All day we have been searching for the needle outside the house, but you have dropped it inside, and you didn't tell us the whole day. She said, I didn't tell you because I wanted to explain something about life to you. I have lost something which is eternal inside me, internal to me, and I'm always seeking it outside. You are laughing at my thought, but isn't this what we all are doing? Wherever there is glamour, wherever there is noise, wherever there is more movement, we seek happiness there. But happiness exists in stillness. Stillness of the mind, stillness of the eternal thought, stability of the thought, where there is no thought. There's a very, very nice Shabad of Bhagat Ravidas. We can share it someday, where he explains this condition of the mind. And he says, Begum Pura Seher ko now, a city without sorrow. Bina Gama ka ek sheher. That's where I live. In another place he says, So asthan batavo mita jaake har har kirtan nita. Where is that place where I have eternal bliss, eternal happiness, freedom, strength, stability, love, caring, and happiness all together and without conditions? This is what the eternal seeking is. Guru says, Jis vakhar ko lain tu aaya, Ram naam santan kar paya. You have come seeking an object. Jis vakhar ko lain tu aaya. You came into life seeking this. And this you find within your internal house, in your ghar, Ram naam, with the name of God, with reciting naam, with the sangat. This is where the solutions of life are, and this is also true about human sexuality. We are unable to handle a very big baggage we have, and that is our mind. Very potent, very powerful, very intoxicating, very involving, but also it is something which is disastrous if we don't know how to handle it. The whole game of life, what is it? It is the seeking. It is this seeking of getting free of life by living life in the physical form, being free of the physical form. We spoke about this the last time. If I have endeavored to seek this, if I have endeavored to explore this, if I have endeavored to know this, and if I can get free of my conditions and find happiness which is unconditional, then I have won the game. But where is this game won? Guru says, Man jeete jag jeet. These battles are lost and won in the mind. My mind, your mind, our mind. The mind collectively is one, not two. So if I am connected with my eternal mind, what we call Atma, spirit, then I am connected to the one source of life. I am connected to all of us. I am connected to everyone. And in the opposite ego mind, which is the conditioned mind, life is very secluded. I think I am connected to everyone. Sometimes I become me, sometimes my family, sometimes my society, sometimes my city, sometimes my country. So the ego is a varying band depending on what my mood is and where I want to go with it today. But it has no stability. It has no permanent structure. The ego is a transient experience, temporary experience. At death, it will be taken away. So the Guru says, is man ko koi khojo pai. Seek this mind. Tan chute man kahan samai. When the body goes, where does the mind go? Guru Nanak says, you win in the mind. You live in the mind. You experience the world in the mind. And we experience sexuality also in the mind. Acceptance that I am a sexual being physically is one step forward. Drop my guilt. I start this battle, conflict within my mind, and I say, I want to be free of my sexuality. That itself is inviting trouble. That itself is inviting sexuality. Where I am seeing, where I am focusing, where I am looking, that's where my life will go. And here I am looking at my sexuality. Understand? I'm trying to say, get rid of my sexuality. So my focus is my sexuality. And then I drive myself more towards it. How about accepting it, living it for what it is, and moving on to the other aspects of life, where the pinnacle of life exists, which is spiritual, where the perfume of life is, where eternal Guru exists. In the Asadivar, Guru Nanak says a very beautiful line. He says that our attitude of the mind is such that we think we know it all. Nanak Guru na chetni, man apne suchet, chute til buarjo, sunje andar khet. Nanak Guru na chetni. I tell myself I don't need a Guru. Why do I need a Guru? I have a body, I have a life, I have a family, I have work, I have society. Where is the Guru's need? Nanak Guru na chetni, man apne suchet. My mind knows everything. Man apne suchet, chute til buarjo. He says these are plants of til. Once the til plant grows above a certain height, it becomes useless. It is a plant. It has some amount of til, but it is useless to the farmer. He doesn't use them. He throws it away. Chute til buarjo, sunje andar khet. Lonely in the field of life. A life which doesn't explore its inner spirituality is very lonely. It's like living in an island alone. It's like trying to seek and get out of quicksand. The more I struggle, the more I sink. So is sexuality evil? Is sexuality wrong? Do I suppress it? Do I force it? It is not wrong. Accept it as a part of my life. Exploring my sexuality is not a wrong thing, but stopping at it and not going beyond to my spirituality is where I miss the boat. Sexuality is a part of my physical life, but it has the energy potential to seek that higher spirit within me, that higher awareness within me. So this conflict should go away from my life, that sexuality is evil, that sex is a bad thing, that sex is wrong. This is the reason Guru did not avoid getting married, having children, live his life, and responsibly. Guru went away with Mardana after the children were mature. There was a certain age. Life is not about avoiding life. Guru Nanak says, in every aspect of creation, the Creator is. Nirantar, continuously. Guru Tegh Bahadur, in a very nice Shabad, explains, Kahere ban khojan jai, sarv nivasi sada alepa tohe sang samai. With us lives the Creator, with me, with you, with us all. And we don't know the Creator. He's living, he or she is with us constantly. He's the source of my creation. He's the source of my sexuality. He's the source of my spirituality. He or she. And my relationship with this energy, which is my source, defines my experience of life. Guru Nanak often in all the Shabads will say, Gun gawa din raat Nanak chaho eho. I think this is an immensely powerful experience. Today there are so many courses on spirituality. People are teaching us how to do yoga, how to meditate, how to go into the wilderness and retreats, how to do different experiences of engineering, so to say, of the spirit. Life is not that complicated from Guru Nanak's angle. He says, sing his praise. Just give your mind to him. Give your mind to that focus of eternity, of love. There is a small parable of two lizards. They stick to the roof. One of them tells the other, let's go to the next room. We've been here for so many months. There are no insects left to eat. And the other one says, don't be stupid. We can't leave. She says, why? Why can't we leave this room? She says, don't you understand? If I leave this room, the roof will fall. I'm holding the roof. My ego is holding the roof. My ego is holding life. My ego is creating its own world, and I become the burden, so to say. I become the problem for myself, most for myself, but from there for society, for country, for world. That is how the world structure is today. It is crying of greed. It is crying of disturbed minds. It is crying for those who Rabia says have lost it, trying to find happiness outside where it doesn't exist. So there is internal conflict within me, within society, within the country, within the world. And it is destroying us all. The lizard doesn't want to leave. I don't want to leave. So my whole drive of life is me. I am the center. I am the center of creation. It is from me that creation is. This is my attitude. And this is also how I deal with sexuality, spirituality, and the experience of it together. But life is not like that. I and my ego is a tool. Haume buje, taan dar suje. When I have understood the structure of ego, I will understand creation. And if I don't understand it, this is a transient tool which ends, which has a terminating date. And what is that date? None of us knows. But the day the body goes, the ego will be torn to shreds. The mind will go in its direction. with its seeds of good and bad, and it will go on a journey which is no stopping. It is a journey of travel. Family, friends, society, all torn up with my ego. Because my ego has to be shredded if I have to go and take new birth. Assuming you believe that. It's just what I believe. This ego can become permanent, but the method of that is different. If I am spiritual, if my roots are spiritual, then the ego takes rest in its eternity. It is born from somewhere, it goes back there. Guru says, samana, samajana, taking rest and settling where it was born from. The fish in water doesn't know it has water around it. If the air is no movement, we will not know we breathe in and breathe out air. This is the physical form of my existence. I live in breath, air, pavan. The fish lives in water. Where does the spirit live? What are the rules for the spirit? The Atma. Where does that live? I am not aware of that. But Guru calls it hukam. Guru says the entire spirit being lives in a hukam, in an order. Just like the Indian country has an order. There are laws, rules. Similarly, the spirit has certain rules. The Siddhs asked, Siddh Gosht, where the yogis asked Guru Nanak, kahan te aave? Kahan hai jave? Kahan hai rahe samai? Where does he come from? Where does he go? Where do I come from? Where do I go? And where will I take rest? Guru says we are all surrounded by hukam. The Creator lives in his hukam, his order. My spirit also lives in the order. So he says, hukme aave, hukme jave, hukme rahe samai. And I am not aware of this hukam. Reason being what? Reason, the ego is a false paradigm. The ego is a curtain. The ego is a blind wall. I can't see beyond the ego what is creation. And it is meant with a certain cause. And the question is asked that what is creation? Guru says, Home eo hukum hai, paiye kirt firai. This is part of hukam, home, his order. That is how it's created. I come into my ego self, live this world, and through my ego self experience the world. If I don't go beyond my ego, then I will be shredded at death. My ego will be gone. My identity will go. But if I go beyond it, then I will know what is creation. Then I will know Atma. Then I will know the Creator. Then I will know love eternal. Then I will know Anand, unconditional happiness. Then I will know the hukam. So I don't know hukam because I live in the ego, and the ego is a blind wall. I can't see beyond it. The one question in the Guru Granth which Guru Nanak poses very early in the Japji, he says, Kiv sachiara hoiye. How do I become truth? Kiv kure tutte pal. How does the wall of falsehood break? The wall which is blinding me, the wall which is taking away my sights and making me feel cheated. The object which I have come to get from this life, I am not getting it, so I feel cheated. Jis vakhar ko lain tu aaya. What you have come to get? What is that object we have come to get? Guru Amar Das says this is Anand, happiness, eternal happiness. Like Judo Krishnamurti says in Natyar, we are all looking for happiness and we are looking for eternal happiness. It's safely assumed there is no such thing. It can be assumed or it can be explored. So Guru Nanak says, Gaviye, suniye, man rakhiye pao. Sing. Go beyond me, my, mine. That is what is destroying me. I use me, my, mine to live the world. I don't go away from the world. I don't deny the me, my, mine, but I go beyond it. So Guru often says, I wake up when everybody is asleep and I sing to my Guru, sing to God, sing to the Creator, that He is the focus of my mind. This is the higher echelons of the spirit. Looking at it from the spiritual point, I will read to you some of the shabads which Guru Granth Sahib says about sexuality, about how we deal with sexuality. When he says, Bind raakh jo tariye pai, khusre ko na param gat pai. Bind raakh, saving my semen, saving my sexual energy, bind raakh je tariye pai, by avoiding sex, suppressing sex. If I am going to be free, tariye, if I go beyond life, understand its creation, then khusre ko na paramgat pai. Should not the eunuch get absolute freedom? Should not the eunuch be the winner in this whole game? So this is not about avoiding sex. This is not about saying, I don't have sex, so I've become spiritual. There is no such thing. We can be spiritual and then not feel like having sex. That is a possibility, because I have found, supposedly, I'm not aware of this, but I have found supposedly so much more joy in using my sexual energy in my spiritual realm that I don't have that joy in sexuality. Guru relates to this and says that these experiences are of no real joy compared to the spiritual joy. There's a very nice parable of Bhagat Kabir. Kabir used to sing and have discourses at his house. He was a weaver. He was a very simple person, didn't have much means. So his wife used to go and borrow food every day, not pay for it because there was no money. And the people who came to him were not moneyed people, so there was no such collection. And every day this was going on. Kabir is absolutely unaware. He is in his own bliss. So the wife goes to the shopkeeper and asks him every day for food on to be payable basis. And one day she realizes that the shopkeeper has an eye for her. And he makes a pass at her and says, I'll give you this food, but if you come to me tonight. She reacts very quickly, very simply. And she says, why not? If this is what you're looking at, not a big deal. I'll come in the evening. They fix up. She goes home, takes the food. There's a discourse, the bhajan. Kabir is in his spiritual realm. And in the evening she gets ready to go. Kabir asks her, where are you going? And she says, this is how it happened. He says, oh, is this how it is? Come, I'll take you. So it's raining, there's a storm. Kabir carries her so that she doesn't get wet, drops her and sits outside the house. The shopkeeper sees her not get wet and says, how did you not get wet? It's raining outside. Says, no, I had someone get me. And he says, who? So she says, Kabir, he's sitting outside. He was stunned. The shopkeeper was shocked. He fell to Kabir's feet. These are people who are spiritual kings, masters of spirituality, and they don't really care about the sexual experience. They know it is of no real value in the long run. This is from Kabir's life. Sexuality and spirituality. I need to understand. And if I need to understand this relationship, I will understand life's relationship. Should I be guilty about sex? Absolutely not. Unless I'm hurting someone. Unless I'm doing something which my ego is making me do, because ego is a disease. It wants to take someone else's object and feel happier about it. Even if I am abundant, because ego is feeling cheated all the time, it wants to cheat. Where is the solution? Solution is गाविए सुनिए मन रखिए पाओ गुण गावा दिन रात नानक चाहोए हो. Change the focus of our lives to that which is eternal. Change the focus of our life to that which is spiritual. Live the sexuality for what it is. But let's go beyond it. Let's explore that which is far more intense, far more energetic, far more eternal, far more mine. Sexuality is a physical being. When I'm old, I will have the desire in the mind, but I will not have the body for that experience. So frustration. When the body is gone, there is no sexual experience. But again, there will be frustration. I have stopped myself at sexuality. That's my problem, not nature's problem. Nature gave us sex as a physical part of my life, but it also gave us a spiritual life. It also gave me a joy within my spirit. It also gave me a flight which is far deeper than my sexual light. And it is not nature's problem that I don't explore it. It's my problem. There are two ways how I will go at death. Either I will go in the karam. कर कर करना लिख ले जाओ, आपे बीज आपे ही खाओ, नानक हुक्मी आवो जाओ. So I will go in the ego mind with the seeds of karam, seeds of what I have done. As you sow, so shall you reap. That's one direction I can go at death. But there is another direction where there is no karam, where there is nadar, where karam, in a Persian word, if you take karam in Persian sense, it means grace, nadar, Guru's blessing. कड़िए शब्द सच्ची टकसाल जिनको नदर करम तिनकार. I need to choose. I can assume sexuality is the only joyful experience of life and stop at that. Or I can live sexuality and go beyond it. जिनको नदर करम तिनकार, नानक नदरी नदर निहाल. Guru says these are the two routes. One is setting me into movement, and the other is making me find peace, rest, security, love, and intense joy, unconditionally, that which lives within me. So, bind na rakhya, shabad na pakhya, pavan na sadhya, sadhana aradhya. So Guru says you haven't saved your spiritual energy. So not using spiritual energy, abstaining from it, balance. This is the other word. I use the spiritual energy, but I also balance it. How do I balance it? By using it spiritually as well. The more creative I am, the less sexual I will be. And in Naam, in singing the praise of the eternal, and absorbing my mind beyond the me, my mind, is another world of eternal being, of the Atma, of the Spirit, of the experience which I am devoid of today. But I can venture there. Sangat will take me. Shabad will take me. Guru talks about Shabad, which is another chapter by itself. So, Maharaj says, Jatan kare bind kive na rahai. Now the question which was asked the last session is that I keep falling back into my sexuality, I keep using that energy and then keep going back in a circle. This Shabad addresses that exactly in the way it is. And the Guru says that Jatan kare bind kive na rahai. I keep trying, but I can't control my sexual urge. Manua dole narke pai. My mind is not at peace. I am in conflict, in nark. Jampur bado lahe sajai. And I get punished. Punished by time, by death, by experiences of change. I am punished constantly because of the way I live. What does Guru say? Bin name jio jal bal jai. Without finding God's name, without finding Naam, without finding eternal love for Guru, without finding the Guru, I am burning. And I will constantly keep burning. So the way is to live our spirituality, sexuality, and walk towards our spirituality. And the experience will make life more and more simple as we go along. This is how life is proposed itself. This is how life teaches us. We can choose to ignore it. We can choose to feel that I know it all and I will live it only in the physical form. God knows what is beyond. Or maybe explore my mind. Is man ko koi khojo pai. Is man ko koi khojo pai. Tan chute man kahan samai. When the body goes, where does the mind go? He says, where? Search within your mind. The answer is in the mind. Is man ko koi khojo pai. And Kabir in another place says, Bande khoj dil har roz. Na phir pareshani mahe. You want to be free of your worries, conflicts. Search your mind. The answers are where the problems are created. The ego mind creates the problem. And the mind beyond the ego is the eternal solution. It's the Sahaj. It's the Anand. It's that part of me which is full of bliss, which has no conflicts, no errors, no punishment. And it is Sada, a very potent word in life. Sada, forever. In spirituality, that which is not forever is actually not. It's transient. It's like the Sufi story which goes, the man enters the Sufi's room and says, he finds no furniture. He is sitting alone in the corner and he asks, where is your furniture? And the Sufi says, where is yours? And the visitor says, but I am only a visitor. Sufi says, so am I. We are all visitors. None of us will be here. But some of us can open that lock of life which can make us go beyond the temporary part of life and be a part of eternal creation. From where we have come, we can go back there. Some of us, all of us, can find our inner solution. And when we find our solution, we find the world's solution, my children's solution, my parents' solution, my wife's solution, solution for everyone. Because I have solved it. Once I have solved it for everyone then. And Guru Nanak says it in the Japji. Keti chutti naal. Benefit yourself and everybody else. Whoever we touch can benefit from us. Whomever we love can find eternal love. Whoever we find joy with forever can find Anand with us. But we need to make that effort. We need to make that first step towards Guru. There's a very nice story of Guru Hargobind Sahib's time. And in that Shabad, Bhai Gurdas says that once we remember the Guru remembers us 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times. Charan sharan gur ek penda jaye, chal satgur kot penda aage hoy let. Crore. Guru comes to us so much more, many times. Siddhs asked Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak left his home and went to Udasis for many years, was away from home. They asked him, Kis karan pe taje Udasi? What is the reason you leave your home, don these clothes and roam the streets and roam the cities, go far away from home? Guru Nanak gives a very, very powerful answer, or let me say, a very meaningful answer, a spiritual answer. He says, Gurmukh khojat paye udasi. I am seeking those who seek truth. I am seeking those who want to go beyond their ego. I am seeking those who want to know their spirit. Gurmukh khojat paye udasi. I am seeking him. The Guru is seeking his Sikh. We need to seek the Guru and he will seek us. Guru is not a body, a physical form. He is not a photograph. He is not a murti. We will discuss the Guru chapter later. But let me say love. Guru is love. Saach kahun main sun leho sabe, jin prem kiyo tin hi prab payo. You want to find God? Love unconditionally. Without love, we can never find God. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib says that. He found love. In all the conflicts, in all the losses, he found love. In all of it. And he says, my Anand is not gone. Whatever may be happening. And it's not as though the children are not taken care of. That's a very eternal and very, very emotional aspect of life. But it is spiritual. It's not physical. Physical death is not death if we have learned to live the spirit. If we don't learn to live the spirit, then physical death will be death and will take us into movement of karam. Ape beej, ape hi khao, nanak hukmi avo jao. What can we do? Suniye, maniye. Listen, transform the mind. The transformation of the mind is where the spiritual experience happens. The love is experienced. The spirit and its joy is experienced. It's in the mind, not far away from me. And what does he say about this all? Suniye, maniye, man ki tapao. Listen, transform the mind with the listening. Listen to what? The Shabad. And then what? Maniye. Go into the application of it. Transformation of the mind. Man ki tapao. Find love within your mind. Antargat tirath malnao. Within you is a tirath. Where like Bhagat, like Guru Amar Das says, that my man has become mandir. Man mandir baniya. It has become a celebration. When he finds Anand, he goes to the rooftop and he sings it. Anand paya meri maaye Satguru mein paya. Main pa liya. I got it. The eternal happiness is with me. And all I need to do is find the Guru. He will open the door. Are we seeking that door? Are we seeking that key? Are we seeking that solution? Are we seeking that spirit? That's where life changes. So sexuality is an immense part of our lives. It is worth enjoying. No need to conflict it. But our mind makes it a conflict. Because our mind is rogi, it's full of disease. And the aspect which is rogi, which is diseased, is the ego. How mein dirag rog hai? It's the intense disease of life. But the solution is also within it. Daru bhi isma hai. Dropping it will resolve life's problems. I think the most powerful line I've ever really experienced, Gun gawa din raat nanak chaho eho. On this note, I end today's talk. I invite you all to please ask your questions, explore together, and let's try and understand spirituality, sexuality, life, and what is it that we are here to do for each other, for everyone, for society. Pray for their eternal energy to be with us, for the Guru to bless us all and find the road. Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.